Hi, are there times when your Hashimoto's disease is just causing plain old digestive upset or the other way around? Could it be that your digestive upset, like GERD and reflux and heartburn, have maybe been at the root cause of your Hashimoto's? These two conditions are intertwined. Thyroid conditions like Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism are related to some of the upper gastrointestinal conditions that a lot of people suffer from. I'm going to talk about this today in my video. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sara Peternell, and I'm board certified in holistic nutrition, and I'm the owner of Family Nutrition Services here in Denver, Colorado. I'm also the creator of a 30-day online program called Nourished and Renewed with Hashimoto's. The question today is about whether or not there's a relationship between GERD and reflux, indigestion, and heartburn, and your Hashimoto's. And the answer is yes. I recently published a blog post on my website with a lot of in-depth information on this subject, including links to important articles and research. Please check that out at sarapeternell.com. But if you're more of a video person, today I'm here to help explain why this situation exists between these two conditions and what you can do about it. So many people with Hashimoto's suffer from these upper gastrointestinal conditions, including me. In fact, lately I've had a bit of a flare-up with some of my annoying, nagging, kind of silent reflux issues that I've dealt with off and on for many, many years. And if you've been following me here on my YouTube channel for a while, you know that my Hashimoto's is pretty well within remission and pretty well controlled. In fact, I even had some recent blood work to confirm that yet again this year in 2020, that things are going really well. But that doesn't mean to say that I don't occasionally get some annoying symptoms. I also have celiac disease. So the fact that I have these really closely related digestive conditions along with Hashimoto's, it just kind of makes sense. I have to do a lot to maintain my health, and I do. I'm really kind of my own best guinea pig. And I work with so many clients who are experiencing many of the same issues that I am. The good news is that you can work to improve one problem, whether you're working on natural solutions like diet and lifestyle and supplements for your thyroid, or you may be working on some of the gastrointestinal remedies that can support reducing symptoms like GERD and reflux. The two will ultimately benefit each other in the long run, and that's the good news. It is important to understand that there are actually a few different words that can define this particular digestive condition. I've been doing a whole series on digestive issues related to Hashimoto's, including SIBO and constipation and bloating. Go ahead and check out those other videos if it sounds like they might be of interest to you. Today I'm talking about specifically what we call gastro, sort of esophageal reflux. And this can be interchanged just by calling it reflux. Many people refer to it as heartburn, but also I hear sort of like indigestion or stomach upset or even nausea. And it's really all of the things that kind of take place in the upper part of the digestive system. So from like your stomach upward. Now, of course, there can be other problems lower within the digestive tract, but the actual symptoms or the condition of GERD is what we sort of define as the weakening of that esophageal sphincter. We call it the LES for lower esophageal sphincter, that gets kind of weakened, whether it's because of a structural functional problem, whether it's because of maybe low stomach acid, or the sort of presence of stomach acid where it shouldn't be in the esophageal, lower part of the esophageal tract. Or it can also be related to certain stressors and certain triggers. So hello, hi, I've been having a little bit of a recurrence of GERD lately, and guess what? I know that it's because of stress. For me, that is one of the things that tends to bring it on the most. I've pretty much identified for me that it is not related to foods that I eat. And yeah, sometimes I feel like things maybe are a little bit out of whack and maybe out of position in my body, but that's because of stress. When I'm getting stressed out, I literally hold myself like a little ball of nerves all in my upper body. And I think that tends to put a lot of pressure on my esophagus, thereby weakening and or opening and putting pressure on that lower esophageal sphincter. So you know what I have to do? I need to do some deep breathing, and I need to try to relax my upper body. I need to work with my stress coping mechanisms to stop sort of that backward flow of stomach acid from going the wrong direction. It can be really uncomfortable. So the basics of sort of the digestive system are that, you eat food, and then the food, it travels down your esophagus into your stomach. And then again, that sphincter, the LES, is there to keep the food from going back the other direction. It actually is a valve, and it's supposed to be a one-way valve that stays closed so that stomach acid in the stomach can work to help digest your food and move it into the small intestine. So basically, acid reflux is when the stomach acid goes past the LES up into the esophagus, okay? There can be kind of the chronic situation where a person is dealing with this gastroesophageal reflux disease, which is, it happens more than just once over a long period of time. And so generally speaking, if you have experienced reflux or acid indigestion or heartburn more than twice per week for a long period of time, then yeah, you probably have GERD. And sometimes doctors even call it silent reflux because you may not have a lot of like the gastrointestinal symptoms such as discomfort or chest pressure or pain or heartburn, but what you may have is hoarseness in your voice, or you may have issues with your sinuses. You may be getting weird headaches. Sometimes you can even get shoulder pain as a result of this lower esophageal sphincter not staying closed and acid going the wrong way. It creates inflammation. My first sign for me, and I feel it today, is that my throat becomes hoarse. And, it's not a cold, it's just the acid that has basically traveled too far back up and is starting to irritate the upper part of my esophagus and also around my voice box and at the back of my throat. So it is uncomfortable, and definitely for me, it is a huge sign that I need to get my stress under control. Are you feeling stressed like I am? I mean, it is 2020, and we are dealing with basically an ongoing pandemic. We just had an election. There potentially are other things that are bothering you and your family, like financial stressors or kids being at home doing school online. Maybe you're working from home. Maybe your lifestyle and your habits have changed and they're not as supportive of you as they once were. Certain things like being able to go out and socialize with friends or go to the gym, right? We're all experiencing some pretty major changes in our lives, and that is when the stress really starts to catch up with us. Of course, stress can present itself in a myriad of different ways. What are some other symptoms of what basically acid reflux is? I mentioned sort of the sore throat or the hoarse voice. For me, that is definitely a sign. For others, it may be chest pain, or it may be a weird cough. It might be difficulty swallowing, or maybe even like a verp. You know what a verp is? Kind of when you like vomit burp in your mouth. I know it's so gross, right? That's the regurgitation of food that started to be partially digested by stomach acid, and whoops, it comes back up. Ugh, not good, right? So these are the signs and symptoms. And most people often find that their symptoms are worse at nighttime when they're laying horizontally, or often it can be worse after eating a meal when the stomach is very full and putting pressure on the LES. Or sometimes it's when you wake up in the morning after you've been horizontal all night and you wake up feeling kind of really congested and stuffy in the upper part of your esophagus, your sinuses, or your throat. You may even feel like, am I getting sick? But it could be the inflammation that's caused by that stomach acid being in the wrong location. All right, so I've been talking about stomach acid. Is reflux really about low stomach acid? I feel like that's what every doctor is probably going to tell you. And there are so many different commercials on TV saying if you have heartburn and reflux and all of these other issues, you need to take an antacid or something to calm and quell the acid. Because, yeah, acid is coming up and it's going into places where it shouldn't go. But is it actually because your stomach acid is too abundant? Or is it because your stomach acid is actually too low? Let's explore this a little bit. I have read a lot of research and from my own personal experiences, as well as the clinical experience in my nutrition practice, that actually the opposite is true. A lot of people who deal with acid reflux and symptoms of GERD and heartburn are actually dealing with low stomach acid. So sometimes the LES can be triggered by stomach acid, and when there's too little, the sphincter won't close properly. So amazing to think about that it actually is because there's not enough acid balance in the stomach to keep that sphincter closed. So there's a biochemical relationship or a biochemical component that's like sending a feedback mechanism, basically saying the stomach does not have adequate acid and therefore that sphincter won't close shut. I kind of like to think of them like those doors in Star Wars after they go into a new room on the spaceship and they walk in and the doors open and then they close like a vacuum seal directly behind them. That's what that sphincter is supposed to do. So if yours isn't closing all the way, perhaps if you're experiencing these symptoms, your stomach acid is too low. So yes, of course, we turn to medications and over-the-counter solutions, and this just lowers stomach acid even more, which is terrible, right? Because all we're doing is potentially contributing to the problem and not actually helping it. Yes, you may get temporary relief of symptoms, but what happens is that over time, people need to take higher and higher doses of these types of medications, whether they're over the counter or prescription, and they find that they're just not working very well anymore. They may even have a rebound acid reflux attack when they're taking medications because the acid is just getting lower and lower. Oh my goodness. So what does this have to do with Hashimoto's? I've just explained what GERD and reflux and silent reflux and heartburn and acid indigestion and all of those things are. What does this have to do with Hashimoto's? Well, basically, of course, low stomach acid is actually related to the thyroid. So we call low stomach acid hypochlorhydria. This is the term for low stomach acid, and it can be caused by a number of things. Among the many different roles that the thyroid plays is that it actually helps in the production of stomach acid. So the thyroid regulates metabolism, and if you have slow metabolism, this will mean that your body also has low stomach acid. Wow, interesting, isn't it? So digestion relies on adequate thyroid hormone and proper metabolism, right? That's controlled by the thyroid. And it goes the other way around as well, which is also interesting. So with many organs in the body and also systems and glands, the gut and the thyroid work very closely together. We know that the thyroid secretes the inactive form of thyroid hormone that we call T4, thyroxine, and also it has to be converted to the active form called T3. So the gut plays a role in activating these processes, this transition of the inactive form to the active form, by supplying necessary nutrients for this conversion to take place. And so if there are, the missing components or missing biochemical reactions, such as adequate stomach acid, well, this may also be inhibiting the thyroid stimulating hormone, which this has the important job of telling the pituitary, it's the pituitary telling the thyroid, hey, make more thyroid hormone. So it becomes actually a very vicious cycle in that thyroid hormones are not able to control metabolism and produce adequate stomach acid. Then adequate stomach acid is not available to help convert the active T4 into T3, and slowly over time the TSH can become out of balance because it's not getting those signals for the body to produce more hormone. So hopefully you're having one of those light bulb moments and you're starting to go, aha, now I get it. Because if you've maybe had some recent thyroid testing, you might go, actually, I noticed that when my thyroid wasn't as well controlled with medication, maybe my symptoms of something like GERD or reflux, are less controlled. Now, in my case, I just went and had labs done because I was like, God, I'm having all these like weird things. Could it be that my thyroid hormones are a little bit off, or am I maybe getting a flare and having some increase in the activity of autoantibodies against my thyroid? Well, that was not actually the case. So then I had to reevaluate my lifestyle and look at my stress levels. So here's what we need to talk about. I'm going to skip over some stuff that's in the article that I think you may find very interesting as it pertains to other things like food triggers and also to bacteria imbalances in the body. There are some specific nutrients that you can utilize to help with giving some relief. The first thing is that a lot of people actually try just taking apple cider vinegar by the spoonful to see if it can help restore some of the body's natural acid. That is a great over-the-counter, we call it kind of the poor man's reflux fix. But for some, especially if you have any erosions or inflammation patches, or maybe even an ulcer, because this problem has been going on for a long time, taking apple cider vinegar, or ACV for short, can actually make it way worse. It can actually burn and cause pain. And so then you might be wondering, well, what really is going on there in my stomach and in my esophagus? So my suggestion is a more gentle route, and that is to take something called Betaine Hcl with some other enzymes to help your body break down foods better. So if you're experiencing hypochlorhydria, which is low stomach acid, you're probably not digesting your food very well, and therefore you do have some of that undigested, regurgitated food that's available to come back up. So taking digestive enzymes and also taking the HCl, which is hydrochloride, the main component of stomach acid, with an enzyme called pepsin before a meal. You can buy these over the counter at the health food store. They make great chewable tablets that you can take with a meal to help kind of boost up your own stomach acid and to help you better digest your food. Other remedies would include ginger to kind of help calm down some of that nausea or discomfort. Licorice root supplements or licorice root tea can also be very helpful. Aloe vera juice, gel, or capsules is very calming and soothing to the irritation that can arise. And also there are lozenges made from deglycerized licorice, which is great because that really helps to soothe an uncomfortable GI tract, especially after a meal. So that can be taken as a lozenge or as a chewable tablet after you eat. Now, there are some other things that you can do to help alleviate acid reflux. I mean, these are some things that we know are really overall beneficial for your health. Definitely stopping smoking if you are a smoker and losing weight if you need to lose weight. These are the two biggest, but probably also the hardest lifestyle and health changes that you can make to support health in your body and to prevent really acid reflux over the long haul. If you're tending to overeat or you're eating the wrong kinds of foods, this can also exacerbate GERD. So working with someone who's board certified in holistic nutrition can help you both with the correct portion sizes for meals and getting to the bottom of what types of food intolerances may be causing you issues. Also, lifestyle issues such as don't eat too close to bedtime, don't lay down after a meal, and making sure that you're getting some regular exercise or movement and activity throughout the day to help keep yourself vertical and to keep that food moving downward in the digestive tract as it should. Practicing good posture while you're sitting at the table. I know that seems very simple and maybe kind of like silly, but it can actually help you quite a bit. What we do notice that when we're stressed, as I said, is that we hold ourselves in weird ways. Maybe you've been poring over the computer or your iPhone device or whatever, and you've noticed that you've actually started to kind of round your body in, and you haven't had that opportunity to open up in the chest and the upper thoracic part of your body. Try to eat a little less. Try to move a little more. Try to manage on some of those coping techniques for stress, such as deep breathing, having good conversation with people who can listen and help you maybe solve your problems, or just be a good listening ear. You may want to be working on some of the more advanced techniques to ease you out of the fight or flight mode, like meditation, and also yoga can be very, very beneficial as well. So, if you're like me, sometimes our health issues can loom larger at different times in life. And so, for me, under stress, this is one of them that usually rears its ugly head. I hate to say it. But if you have Hashimoto's and you feel like you've actually been dealing with some of these upper GI issues for a long time and you're ready to get serious about tackling GERD and reflux and heartburn, and you just don't want to take the over the counter medications anymore, the good news, and I hope your takeaway from this video as well as my blog post, is that when you start working on your thyroid health, you can also improve your digestive health and vice versa. So just start with some small changes with your diet, eating less, understanding food intolerances, trying to lose some weight, working on some of the other lifestyle changes like exercise, water, meditation, and also just partnering with the right type of practitioner who can get to the root of maybe why you are experiencing hypochlorhydria or low stomach acid and what can be done about that as well. I have information that can be supportive of your journey. If you check out Nourished and Renewed, you'll find there's an entire module all about the digestive issues that may come along with Hashimoto's. So check that out. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel, for watching my videos, for liking them, subscribing, and sharing them with others. Also, I just want to remind you I have a great bi-monthly newsletter called Hashimoto's Headlines. You can sign up for Hashimoto's Headlines here at my YouTube channel, and every 2 weeks I send out what I call my top 3 things. It usually is a research article that helps me write a lot of my blog posts and do a lot of these videos for you. It also may have a tip or a takeaway with a special supplement or a type of food that can help benefit your health and your thyroid, as well as more in-depth information that I can't always get to in the social media realm. So check out Hashimoto's Headlines, sign up to receive my newsletter. And again, thanks for being a part of this channel. Wishing you a happy and healthy rest of your day. I'll see you soon.